Hi, Scone Mason here. The true long-term effects of the information revolution are not yet completely visible. They peak from the sand dunes of time like the bones of a dinosaur slowly being revealed by desert winds. At this point, we can see the basic edges of the structure of the beast, but its true size and shape remain concealed for now. There are a few people who can see how things have changed and will be changed further by the availability of all the world's information on the internet. At a lecture a few years ago at the Center for Inquiry Los Angeles, I heard Toni Christman, a former Scientologist, tell her story of escaping that cult. And more than anything else, she cited the information available on the internet as the biggest contributing factor to her realization that she was in a cult and needed to get out. She told us that the leaders of Scientology were afraid of the internet because of the breadth of information available about Scientology, much of it kept secret by the church, testimonials and stories told by former Scientologists, and the fact that the internet allowed Scientologists to easily break the cult's #1 rule: never talk about Scientology with other Scientologists. That prohibition on communication is one of the things they deem keeps Scientology working. Tori was in fact convinced that the internet would eventually lead to the downfall of the entire Scientology cult. To reinforce this possibility, she emphasized that all Scientologists were forbidden from surfing the open internet and were required to install software on their computers to restrict access to any anti-Scientology websites. The same kind of exposure to the world's vast information is having a decided effect on the Catholic Church as we speak. For decades, perhaps for centuries, the Catholic Church has been protecting sexual predators of children among its clergy. That information was kept secret and never revealed, allowing priests to move from one diocese to another with their new parishioners never knowing their dark histories. In the years since the internet has become pervasive, reports of priest abuse have grown by exponents due to the immediate worldwide dissemination of such information. Never before has a pope faced such overwhelming outcry simultaneously from so many sources and so many victims. Many are calling for his arrest, and there is actually speculation that he might have to step down. None of this kind of instant reaction was possible before. Then there is the wonder of YouTube and the emergence of what has come to be known as the YouTube atheist community. A great deal has been said and will be said about this community, but the most amazing thing is its existence. Never before has there been a communicative venue for open and uncensored atheist and anti-theist thought to be presented to a worldwide audience instantly. The wonder of YouTube is the ability of users to make their cases uninterrupted, forcing opponents to listen before responding, and with no gatekeepers deciding what is appropriate, as on broadcast radio and television. This is a new age in which the exchange of ideas is unfettered, regardless of the tyrannical majority's desire to silence dissenters. The rise of atheism on YouTube shows simply there's a significant population of people worldwide who until now had no public voice because they were not allowed to have one in the media of the gatekeepers. This is the first time in history that anti-theists have had an uncensored voice and an unfettered forum for thoughts and essays that other media feared because of the expected religionist backlash that could impact advertising. Atheists are no longer forced to the margins in silence. With YouTube and the internet, we can be seen and heard on equal footing with the bombardment of religious dogma being broadcast, and without the fear generated by religion's influence on the medium itself or the gatekeepers. With this unprecedented access to rational thought and even just a sane opposing viewpoint, can it be long before all religions face the crisis that Tori Christman witnessed in Scientology? I haven't heard many religionists who are in favor of dissemination of uncensored knowledge, especially evidence-based scientific knowledge that contradicts or disproves their texts or their dogma. I've quite often heard Christians calling for the teaching of their faith-based dogma in the same classrooms in which science is taught under the pretense of equal time, particularly in the case of evolutionary biology. But I have never heard them demand equal time in church for biology lectures or scientific training. This plainly indicates that religionists do not see an uncensored expansion of knowledge as a good thing, but as a threat to their single-minded dogma and a threat to their status quo. If the believers are restricted to hearing only dogma, then they have no basis for questioning. And there is not pressure for the dogmatists to either come up with believable proven answers or admit they have no answers, neither of which they're willing to do. It's a one-sided argument that religion always wins. Therefore, the amazing display of information available on the internet and the particularly human face that YouTube has put on atheism has shown the religious world that atheists are common, thoughtful people who are around in everyday life and that they have an arguable point. In fact, religionists soon reveal the tenuous nature of their own belief systems by insisting on arguing and attempting to disprove the point being made by non-believers. Until now, they've lived in the safety of the general ignorance of the population based on the lack of a forum for free thought and anti-religious thinking, and acted as if such thinking simply did not exist. But now that everyone can hear a rational, calm for the most part, and thoughtful atheist community speak its mind, religionists are threatened and feel compelled to try to shout down their opposition rather than arguing logically. Logic is not on their side. Up until now, we've all been asked to take their word for the existence of God with this endless and obfuscatory idea of faith. So it seems that over all this time, God, the religionist Superman, has been fighting shadows, attacking an opposition that really wasn't there in a form that he didn't already control. Now that free thought, logic, scientific evidence, and rationalism, the dreaded enemies of the religionist Superman, have been freed from that Superman's own control, he quakes in his boots, fearing the true expansion of knowledge, because he knows it will weaken him and eventually lead to belief in him fading into the past. In this way, knowledge, unfettered, uncensored, unbiased knowledge, is kryptonite to gods. This is Scone Mason. Thanks, and see you next time.